Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Welcome back to another week 6 on Draftkings video. My 5 box running backs, my top running backs for week 6. Now, what are the 5 boxes? We're talking about guys that have an expectation of 20 touches in the game, involvement in the passing game, inside the 5 carries, who are playing at home and favored. Those 5 things individually over the past 10 or 15 years have led to a fantasy point over projected expectation. And when we group them all together, it can really identify some great plays at the position. A lot of the time, those guys are heavily played players. They have a lot of traffic on them, both in cash games and in tournaments, but sometimes they go overlooked, and it allows us to get a player in a really premium position at an advantage spot against not a lot of people in the tournament field. That does not mean that these are the only running backs that you can play. And because it's a short week, because of bye weeks and a London game, there's only 10 games on the main slate. I only have like 2.5 5-box running backs. So this video is more about the top running backs in the week, because you know what? Yeah, you can play a running back who's not at home. You can play a running back who's not favored. You can do all of those things, because the main thing is volume over everything. Target guys who get a lot of touches, target the guys who get involvement in the passing game, because one target equals 2.8 DraftKings points versus, 2.8 DraftKings carries. So higher point expectation per target than you get per carry. I would, a guy that gets 20 carries and no targets is not as valuable as somebody who gets 8 or 9 targets in a game at the running back position. So thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and I would like for you to do one thing. We have not tried this before, but I'm testing something out. I like to test the fences. I'm a bit of a raptor, just like our Twitch chat. If you're watching this video, click that share button below the screen, and then click one of the buttons. Click Facebook, click embed, whatever, and then you can just cancel. Just click share, click something, and then you don't have to do anything. You don't need to share the video. Just act like you're sharing the video. I want to test the fences and see what it does. So thank you for being here, and let's hit it.
He's a legend.
The Smiz Gang Listener League is always in the same spot. You don't have to find the link, but the link does exist right down below. If you click show more on the description, whether you're on mobile or on desktop, it's going to be there all the time, but it's always going to be the same link, smizzle.tv/charity, and you can enter 3,500 people, $10 to enter, 3 max. I will talk about all the top 10 lineups that come out on the recap video next Monday. So get in there. Best tournament that exists on DraftKings for NFL. Also, we are still progressing through our No Kid Hungry fundraiser. We are trying to raise $25,000 by the end of the NFL season, by the end of the calendar year this year. We just crossed $13,000 raised. If you have benefited from the content on this channel, if you have won a tournament, if you have had a big weekend, if you would take a second, go to smizzle.tv/charity. Also, there's a link down below in the description that takes you right there to a Tiltify link. Every donation is tax deductible, and every single dollar helps. Let's try and do what we can to help the 1 in 6 kids in America who suffer from food insecurity to have themselves a little bit of a better life. It's the least that we can do as daily fantasy players. Our first running back on the list this week, Christian McCaffrey, playing at home and favored. You know that he checks off every one of the other boxes. If he is going to play, dealing with a hamstring injury the last few weeks, suited up for practice before week 5, but was not able to give it a go in week 5. Matt Rule says Monday he's hopeful that McCaffrey will be able to return for Sunday's game against the Vikings. That's all that I can hope for, because if he's available in this game, he's going to get an absolutely monstrous share of pretty much everything that happens. Now, hamstring injuries can linger. We know that they have a struggle with re-injury. If you don't feel comfortable with it, if you want to avoid I understand that. I'm fine with that. Do what you want to do. There just aren't that many 5-box candidates on this week's slate. If McCaffrey plays, I'm going to play Christian McCaffrey. I do not project for mid-game injuries. Mo, thank you with the $20 donated to No Kid Hungry. See, that's right there. That's how you do it. You get shouted out on the stream if you do it. So Christian McCaffrey, absolutely amazing. We know that he's involved in the passing game. Massive touchdown share of the inside the 5 work. One of the few backs in the league that plays over 85% of the snaps and gets over 85% of the touches for his team at running back. He should be 10 to 10.5. That just should be his salary pretty much anytime he's going to take the field, and he's only at 8,800. Thank you, Sharon, for the $25. Feed them kids. That's right. Jonathan Taylor, coming off of a pretty big game on an island game on Monday night. I kind of felt like his percentage in tournaments, even though he is really too cheap based on his current volume, 4 targets, 15 carries, 16 carries a week before, 3 straight games on the road. Now he gets the absolute prime spot, squaring off against the Houston Texans AAA franchise at home. 20 touches probably coming his way, leading the league in terms of inside the 5 carries with like more than 7, as there were like 4 people tied with 7. He got another 1 or 2 on Monday Night Football. Jonathan Taylor is an absolute monster of a running back. Big time breakaway speed, as we saw in the 76-yard touchdown that he had in week 5, the 38-yard touchdown that he had in week 4 against Miami, and that run-in that he had at the end of last season where he was basically in every week play. Sub 7K is entirely too cheap for Jonathan Taylor on any week, and now that he's establishing himself and gets this matchup, I expect him to be extremely popular, even more so than he would have been if he didn't go off in a island game on Monday Night Football with literally everybody watching. So expect a lot of traffic. Deal with that as you want to in tournaments if you think. D Davis Gaming, thank you for the $10. Everything helps. Every single dollar helps, guys. Every single dollar helps. Kareem Hunt. Now I'm going to do a thing here because, I mean, Nick Chubb's there too. Cleveland has one of the highest totals on this slate, squaring off against the Arizona Cardinals. The total right now is 52. The Browns are favored in this game. This is the half. It's Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb not involved really in the passing game. He had 2 targets in week 1. He has gotten 1 target in each since then. However, he does get a ton of the work right now on the ground and is leading this team and is was tied for second now. Was alone for second in the league before Monday Night Football in terms of inside the 5 carries. Is now 3rd in the league in terms of inside the 5 carries as Jonathan Taylor moved into an anonymous donation for $20 to the charity. Thank you guys very much for blowing this YouTube video up. I appreciate it. But YouTube, take the hint. You gotta give a little bit. Get yourself some karma for the main slate. Nick Chubb is exactly what I was talking about here, where you're getting 20 carries. You're getting the inside the 5 work. He does have people. The narrative is that Nick Chubb isn't the goal line back, but Kareem Hunt is. Well, Kareem Hunt has like 4 inside the 5 carries so far this year and 5 touchdowns, and Nick Chubb has 6 inside the 5 carries for the Browns and 4 touchdowns or whatever on the ground. So like, you're not going to get the 20 touches probably, but you will approach it. We're going to get 15 to 20 touches out of Kareem Hunt, including those very valuable work in the passing game, those targets. He does get inside the 5 carries. You know, he's not like completely, they don't have one guy. It just like kind of seems random, right? Like this week they had a drive where Nick Chubb carried the load all the way down to the 1. Then they called a timeout and Nick Chubb was on the field, and they come out of the timeout and then they put Kareem Hunt in the backfield and he plunged in from 1 yard out. So like, it just seems kind of random or package oriented with what they're putting in to run specific plays. And sometimes Kareem Hunt is in that package. Sometimes Nick Chubb is in that package once they get inside the 5 yard line. I think both are in play this week. Nick Chubb, obviously 1,000 more than Kareem Hunt. Now we're out of the 5 box territory. Now we're just talking about good running backs. DeAndre Swift is the one logical player that I am willing to play every single week on the Detroit Lions. Everything else kind of yo-yos back and forth. You can try and play whack-a-mole with the wide receivers or TJ Hawkinson, but DeAndre Swift is the one player that I want. 6,300 only, massively involved. 11 targets, 5 targets, 7 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets. Every single week, those valuable inclusion in the passing game, and catches basically everything that's thrown his way. Does get about half of the inside the 5 carries for this team, so there is the possibility of rushing touchdowns on top of all the receiving work. Probably not going to get you a 100-yard bonus unless he breaks a really long catch or breaks a really long run, because he doesn't get enough work in either to really challenge for that 100-yard bonus. So that would actually be a bonus, not as much in play for him as it is for a guy like Jonathan Taylor or Nick Chubb, who gets the ball enough on one side to do the work, or Christian McCaffrey. But DeAndre Swift makes for the perfect comeback play. in a quarterback double stack or a secondary stack if you're playing Cincinnati Bengals, and you're probably playing Cincinnati Bengals. Darrell Henderson has basically, when healthy, ripped off about 90% of the work for the Rams. Sony Michel is going to be a thing. He is going to be a 30% guy at best, 25% guy at best. It is Henderson's job when he is healthy, and when he has been healthy, he has looked really, really good and very explosive. He has shown that they will throw him the ball, whether they're ahead or behind in games. Last week, he had 1 target. In week 4, he had 6 targets. So it's not as steady as somebody like DeAndre Swift, but historically, McVay, when he gets inside the 10, pounds his running backs, and Darrell Henderson going to be one of the league leaders, as good as this offense is, in terms of inside the 5 carries. Darrell Williams, not Damian Williams, I clicked the wrong D Williams for the video, is going to be taking over for Clyde Edwards-Helaire in Kansas City, as he got bent in half sideways. Did not look like it felt very good at all. Going to be the lead back, going to probably be splitting a little bit of time. He'll be the 60% guy in my estimation, with Jet McKinnon being the secondary guy. Number 1. I like running backs that have the number. I like all the players that have number 1. The single digit numbers this year, while confusing the first couple weeks trying to figure out who was who, love the single digit numbers. I think they're amazing. So Williams going to be taking over as the lead guy for the Chiefs offense. That's basically all you need to know. And Washington has been horrific on defense, though much worse against the pass than they are against the run. They've actually been really good. They've been a pass funnel. So like, they're not letting you run the ball. They are letting you pass it. We are going to get inclusion in the passing game. We're probably going to get some of those inside the 5 carries. I don't think he's going to get bell cow usage unless they're way up. Then he might get you that 20 touches this week, but 4,900 is just entirely too cheap for the lead back on the Chiefs. Austin Eckler, 7,900 seems to, like, all the running backs are too cheap still. This is going to shift. We've noticed this for the last few years in terms of pricing on DraftKings, that like they top out these running backs until like week 7, 8, 9. And then guys like Austin Eckler are going to be like 9,000 to 10,500 based on the usage that he's gotten. This year, different from other years, getting all the inside the 5 work, where he basically had 2 inside the 5 carries last year. All of that work is going to him on top of 70% of the snaps and touches, on top of all the pass game work. This week 1 burp was just what it is. Massive floor based on this offense, massive ceiling. Based on the Monday Night Football game, I think a lot of people are going to be stacking this Baltimore Chargers game with one of the higher totals on the slate. This one is 50. I think it's the 3rd highest total, with the Ravens, who got into a massive shootout with the Colts last night, and their create-a-player offense with Jonathan Taylor. Now you've got the Chargers offense led by Herbert, Big Mike, Eckler, Keenan Allen, Jared Cook, the tall Parham. All these guys on offense that can move the sticks constantly, which just means more opportunities for Austin Eckler, as he is the lead dog in terms of getting the most touches for this Chargers offense. And finally, Ezekiel Elliott is still too cheap. Now, he fell on a pylon, and those pylons are not as squishy as you might think. He's kind of got some soreness in his lower back and rib cage. Coach thinks he's going to be fine this week. They are favored in New England, and again, 7,100. The prices of the running backs are absurdly cheap. They were last week in a lot of the chalk smash. They're still cheap this week. It is improbable that all of these running backs sub 8K, all of these running backs 7,100 and down are going to fail. So it might very well be a 3 running back week in cash. And it's going to be easy to sprinkle in a lot of combinations of these guys in tournaments. So those are my top running backs, $5 and not $5. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, notifications bell, leave a reply down below, click that share button, do a thing. I appreciate all of it. And if you got some time, thank you to the Twitch chat for being so generous during this video. If you've had some winning weeks based on some of the content, the free content that I put out here on YouTube, you'd click that smizzle.tv/charity. And give a little bit to our fundraiser that we're doing, trying to raise $25,000 from the community, and I will match every $5,000 up to $25K, hopefully raising $50K by the end of the year. I appreciate you guys. Another video right up there.
He's a legend.